Good morning. It is 10:30 a.m. It is Sunday, and that means it is time for Sunday Club, which is a weekly live stream where every week we take a look at some Ruby on Rails coding, and together we work on an application. And the application is kind of an example one where it allows users to kind of make mini websites for their YouTube channel or Twitch channel. We basically give it an API key. It goes off and retrieves a bunch of information about the videos and then shows those videos to users, and they can edit information and make a little mini website. It doesn't look amazing right now, our little app, but it does a bunch of stuff, and you can look back at previous episodes in the stream to learn about what our app does and see us talk about different things in Rails and how we might approach different aspects. And let's jump straight in. I don't have any follow-up from last week particularly. We just implemented we looked at implementing our subscriptions. And when we say subscriptions, if you remember, we're not talking about people paying monthly. Like I have a £10 subscription for an app and every month it charges me £10. We're talking about the kind of subscriptions like a YouTube channel where you subscribe, and then every time that channel does something that you care about, you get a notification of some sort. You maybe get an email, maybe you get a little in-app notification or whatever notification you want. And those are the types of subscriptions that we're talking about. So last week we looked at a bunch of different gems, and what we looked at was to see whether the gems would cover all of the behavior from subscription all the way through to notification, and some of them did, and we think we looked at noticed, I think was the last one we looked at, and that one just did the notification side, and the ones that did the subscription side were probably a little bit more than we needed. They looked great, they looked really fully featured, but they looked like we would have to spend a little bit of time learning about them and how some of the nuances of how they worked, and kind of dive in to the documentation and stuff. So we skipped that, and what we did is at the end of last week's stream we just implemented our own very basic model that represented a user subscribing to a channel, and that was it. It was a very basic implementation, but that's all we really need, because what we're aiming towards is basically going back to look at turbo streams and action cable, which are two big gaps in my kind of up-to-date Rails knowledge. So I'm really excited to go and look at them, because I genuinely haven't used either. We did a stream previously, which you can watch in the Sunday Club channel, and it didn't go great because I don't know enough about action cable and didn't have anything already set up, and it looked like it was trying to make use of stuff I already had, and I hadn't done that. So we need to take a look at that, and that's where we're going to go today. I think we're going to start that. So let's dive straight in. Let's go take a look at some code. So this is our GitHub repo, but that's not what we really care about. What we really care about is what we did last week. So let's just bump the font size up a little bit here. All right, so these are the changes in our Git repository from last week. And we have, let me just check the stream while I'm doing this so I don't, yep, there's audio there, cool. So we have a couple of models that got changed last week. We had a channel now has many notification subscriptions as subscribable. It's probably a bit generic, maybe notification subscribable. Again, I think I just grabbed some of the words pretty quickly because there was a lot of talk about language last week. So let's stage that. We have a notification subscription model, and that belongs to a user and it belongs to a subscribable. I haven't added in any tests for these. Again, that's kind of one of the things that gets sacrificed because I only do this stream for a short time each week. I think I'm just keen to get the code running. I think if we do longer streams or anything in the future, we'll do proper tests and stuff like that. I do when these just get committed to our work in progress branch, but when I come back and tidy up, I do often add tests in. So then a user now has many notification subscriptions, and that device change is just the one that hangs around so that we can log in and out. So let's just do add associations between user, notification, subscription, and channel. And I know that that's it's giving me a little warning that it's going over there, but these are just work in progress commits on our work in progress branch. So we're not too fussed about those being messy particularly. So let's leave those there. Great. So that's from last week. Now, what we didn't do, so we were able then, I think, grab terminal up. Sorry, this is just me refreshing my memory and hopefully you as well from last week. So we can open up a console. I think we made one last week, didn't we? So we had a notification subscription.count. Yep, we made one last week, and I don't think we'd added any validations or anything. Right, that was where I think we got to at the end of last week. So we had a user ID 8 had subscribed to channel 13. Bump this font size up again. And one of the issues that I'd mentioned was that we weren't validating that user 8 was allowed to subscribe to channel 13 or anything else. We weren't checking the audit history of this subscription, so when it was turned on or off or anything like that, we just had active as true, and we could presumably set that to false. And another thing was that I had set this event name to be arbitrary, and that could be changed later, so we could have different types of subscriptions. So this was channel.video.new, but you could do channel.video.updated or something like that. And this is arbitrary, like that dot syntax was, I think, what we saw one of the other gems using. But you could do anything. You could actually make I don't know, you could have different models with different, like you could have different types of notifications represented how you want. I don't really want to go and backfill any of that functionality because it's not that useful. Like if you're interested in that, then just drop me a note if you want to delve into any of that stuff, either in the comments on YouTube or on the discussions tab in the Sunday Club repository, which is in the link in the description. But basically, we can just kind of assume all of that is doable, and they're just validations and stuff like that. So let's dive into actually subscribing to things, I think, is what we really care about. So what we want is a button that shows on a channel when you're logged in and allows you to subscribe. Like that's, I think, the simplest place we're trying to get to. Like we just want a button that shows somewhere. So let's do that. And then remember, we're trying to get to the action cable stuff. So if you click that button and you're subscribed, maybe we try and ping a little notification thing, a bell symbol or something, like a red dot or something. Maybe we try and get that functionality running. So let's get the subscribe working, and then we can work out some functionality to try and get towards our action cable stuff. And then we want to be able to basically trigger stuff in the trigger just trigger events, I guess, from the back end. So a model has been updated or something has happened, and then we want that to be reflected in the UI somehow. And that's where we're trying to get to. Okay, so do we actually have a channel view that you don't have to be logged in to see? I think, considering at the start of this stream, every time I say it's like, oh, it's an app where you can watch, where we build these little mini websites. We haven't actually done any of the stuff where people can view it, but let's not worry too much about that. So view channels show. Okay, cool. So we do have one. There are no videos for this channel yet. Okay, cool. So this is totally, we do have one. And so you can just go and view it. And in the channels controller, yeah, there's no logic that says you can't view it. Okay, great. So let's go and get a channel. This one have any videos? Channel.last.videos.count 23. Great. Okay, so that is channel number 13. So let's jump over here. This is a local host, and then channels 8. So we have channels 13. Great. Okay, so I'll just bump this up a little bit. Great. Okay, so this is our kind of basic website page. So I'm viewing a channel, doesn't have the name of the channel or anything like that. It just has the name of the organization and a list of videos. No edit button or anything like that, because if you remember, we placed all our edit functionality in an area that we called admin or control panel, I think, something like that. Control panel. Again, you can view how to do that in those previous streams. So we come in here, we are logged in or not? We want to find that out. And then if we are logged in, we want to be able to have a subscribe button on here to subscribe to the channel. Let's get that going. So can we do ourselves some favors and start to put some things? We've really skipped over it. I mean, how many streams are we in now? 4 million? Like, so many, and we have done no. I'm actually interested to answer that. How many? We've done no user interface at all. There's some design stuff early on. Number of videos on this channel. Oh my god, so many! Look at all of these. This is so cool. Does it tell you how many there are? See, this is actually research, because I'm sorry, I'm just looking at the other screen, but it's research. So we know how to build a really good video UI by looking at YouTube's. That's how we can justify it. So we have. No, it genuinely doesn't. Oh, 27. There we go. Oh, 27. That's wild. And we haven't done any user interface. Right. Okay. So let's do ourselves a favor and build out a little thing at the top that shows us whether we're logged in or not, because it'd be really helpful to know 90% of the time. So we could do that maybe in our application layout. I have a little flash thing here that runs across the top of the body. We could pop. Oh man, it doesn't even line up. What's happening here? Okay, so I wonder if you remember, we're using Tailwind. Tailwind. Oops, that's my loopback notification. Tailwind components, I think they were called. And there was like a list of stuff we could grab. Examples and templates. Yes, we just really want like a header, navigation. And the idea is, I think you can kind of grab. Oh yeah, I've already forgotten how much I'd already forgotten how much of a headache this was. Okay. Okay. Because you basically have to, right, I had forgotten this. You have to basically learn Tailwind rather than just knowing the CSS. And you've got to remember, even if you grab other people's code. Okay. Let's jump back over here. Okay, let's not get too hung up about that. We don't really care. Let's just put in something here, and oh my god, it's like you've. Okay, well let's lean into it. So let's go and take a look. So actually, we're on the docs. Docs. Class container. I guess that's what we want. Oh. No, because you want an out the one for the styling and then that one for the content within it. Okay, I can feel warning signs as to how much time I'm about to lose on this, so let's just give this a try. So if I want to make it a given height, I think the whole point of Tailwind is I then don't try and style anything. I only use these, but I don't know how big any of these are, so let's do that. I want to give it a white background. Oh man, it's like Is it like yeah, oh, Command K, okay. So background. Okay. So how do you use background opacity? Okay. I just want to make it so the background is white. Background color. There we go. Why did that not show up when I did that second ago? Okay, so BG white. Right. Okay, so then I remember you kind of learn. So it's too tall. It's got a white background. I want to give it a slight drop shadow. Box shadow. Let's show you what one of these look like. But I only want the shadow going down. Let's do, can I do no shadow? God. How do I only do... No shadow. I want one angle. I don't want all four triggered. So let's just do that. Shadow. And then in here, what I'll put... I've lost all interest in that pretty quickly. I cannot... Tailwind is not clicking with me at all whenever I try that. I guess I've got to give it more time. So... Is there a current user? And if there is, we can say... So dot... Oh God. What do we give them? First name, I guess? Or we can say... Sign in. So current user is a helper that device provides, if you remember back from doing those. Let's do this. Cool, so we've got sign in. Or we can actually make that sign in a bit nicer, but we'll make this a proper if. Just so it's easier to see. And you don't have to do this in the view, you could do this anywhere. Give yourself a little partial, you could have a helper, could have some sort of presenter that does it, whatever you need. Can't remember the path off the top of my head. It's like sign up path? No. New. There's like a shared links thing, isn't there? New registration path. Oh no, that would be signing up. Or sign in, we want. New session path, sorry. New session path. Cool, does that work? Oh, new session path. Does it need that? Okay. Oh, wrong around. Ah, yeah, no links it. Okay, so then we can sign in. Okay, so you don't want that showing there, but you kind of get the point. And I don't know if I made any of these. Oh, we can just look at. Okay, so we have channel.last. And then it goes via organization.users.last. Is it not organization? I thought a channel had many organizations. No, it has a site. Okay, so sorry, site dot. I'm just trying to get a user. Oh, actually, well, because I'm trying to do subscriptions, I don't need one that can manage that site, do I? Of course. I can just sign up. I can just make a quick user at example.com, set a password for them, and I don't think it'll sign me in automatically, which we can implement, but oops, I think I just clicked that twice. So log in. Okay, that form is not working. Is that posting when I press the button? No, nothing's happening. Or when I press enter. Okay, that's weird. So was this to do with our... Let's go and take a look at those forms. App views. These are all devise ones, so sessions new. Does something need adding here for Turbo? Turbo Rails opt form out. I think we did this last week as well. So I'm just looking for... Did we have to do this last week somewhere in a form 4? We had to turn Turbo off to get the form working. I think that's what's happening. I think, or is it something like remote false? Like, is it trying to send? FRNXHR. So users sign in. There's an... No, that's generally just not submitting. Oh, I can't right click either? What the hell? I can't right click on that button? Okay, something's happening there. I have... Data disabled. Okay, so that's disabled. Okay, so it thinks that it has... So when we first load this page... Sorry, this is a diversion from what we're trying to do, but we want to get this fixed. So we paste it in here. So we have this button. Okay, get rid of this. Sorry, this isn't very large. Let me just bump this font size up here in the inspector. Okay, and so the first time, then here we can click this. Right, it then gets disabled. And is it doing... Right, okay, so it's then doing the invalid email or password. Right, okay, so it is posting, but not processing that response. Yeah, I think that is Turbo doing something, I guess. Okay. So I can't remember when the last time was we were trying to log in. Because I think we were... So does this user exist, or did we fail to create the user? No, there's no... Okay, the user doesn't exist. Okay, so the sign up broke as well. Okay, so we have that user. Then sign up. So sign up. So sign up. Gets us an error. The error doesn't show in the UI for some reason. Oh, is it this create as turbo stream? Okay. Okay, this is interesting. So turbo devise Rails. Okay, so we've got Go Rails episode here. Source code. Oh, it's literally the whole source code. Code. Da, da, da. Oh, do we have to change? Oh, have we broken devise by installing turbo? How do we do? Oh, because because the controller we use to create the users. Because I was like, oh, we've definitely created users, but that's our controller. So we do that in the site setup users controller. We just do user.save, so we know the user is there. Oh, amazing. There is a missing line from the source code in the video. Without it, it won't work. Morning, Justin. So hopefully Justin has got something. Devise won't work without this code. Oh, okay. So has Devise been broken since we just installed Turbo and we just haven't had to use it? I'm just checking. This is the first time I think I've gone to sign in for a little while. So I'm debating if this is a new problem or one that we've made in the last couple of weeks. Okay, so can we just get around this? I don't really care about any of these details in the short term if we just want to implement a sign-in button. Can we just force this here? Because we get like devise. Yeah, it's broken when you're sort of okay, cool. That's fine. That's as long as we know. So we can devise sign in user via. There's like a shortcut. Is it just sign _in? I'm using it now to sign up. So can we just do this for now, just as a quick workaround? So sign in user. So then we can just, so we know we've got a broken devise, which is fine. We'll work on that separately, but it looks like that's a known thing. So that's fine. But we can just go back to our homepage because all we just need is a user to test our subscription button. That's where we're trying to get to. So test site. Create the site. Oh my God. This is the same issue, presumably, where this is now going out via turbos. Yeah, as JavaScript. Okay, so that one now goes out Okay, so implementing turbo isn't kind of a thing you can do without looking at the rest of your code. So baking it in from day one is great, but adding it later is something you've really got to consider. Okay, cool. So can we just change that form so that's on our homepage here? So with this one and what is it? Is it remote false? Or is it, do we actually have to explicitly turn data remote true? It's not too, so this is just it's not too much code to get working. You can basically copy and paste from the source code. It's just missing one line that you have to get from 2/3 into video. From the video, do you mean the Go Rails video? That one here? I've lost it, I think. Oh no, this one. This one here. So hang on a second. You turn that off. Turbo remote false. Okay. So there's something in here. Oh, can I just Google that? Because it would save me hunting around in a video. Turbo remote false. Turbo links. Oh, is it data remote false? Data turbo links false. These are all turbo rather than... I think we did look at this last week. Turbo Rails. There's like a handbook thing. Turbo handbook. Oh, this is... Nope. I'm trying to be optimistic that... Okay, maybe we will have to hunt around for this. Justin, if you have that to hand, we'll chuck it in. But if not, then... They was actually added to the handbook. Yeah, that's kind of where I was looking. Frames. It's got the target. I think we looked at this. Data turbo frame. Yeah, I think this is, oh, that's kind of cool. Look at that. Okay, so this is frustrating because I want to just get past this just to get to the thing we're trying to work on. Oh, Justin, Justin, if you're on your way home, don't panic. It's, I should be quicker at Googling these things. Okay, so let's, well, we can kind of figure that out if it's, let's assume it's something more like, say it's maybe, because what did we say it was? Data remote. Let's try that as well. Data turbo false, and then let's do remote false. Let's try both of those. Cool. Okay, so one of those worked. Let's not worry about it. Don't really mind what that is. Amazing. Okay, so let's go and get our channel ID. Oh my god, I forgot all of them. Okay, so Justin's point is presumably that you can add that everywhere. Right, we're just going to do these one by one. Don't panic about it. We're going to get this done super quick. Okay, how are we doing? Site setup, details, edit. There's a form in here. We're going to check this on the end real quick. There, cool. Okay, so we can go back and refresh this. Paste this in. Go. Still works. Yes, great. Okay, so now we can add in an example email address. And I think that line in the controller is going to sign us in, which is all we were trying to do for this whole time. It's going to, okay, so. Okay, so maybe we got to do that one as well. Of course. Okay, so users, new. Gonna check. Oh, there. Oh, no. There. Refresh this. Yep. Doesn't matter what it is because it's just local. Although I do need to copy it because I'm going to need it a second. Oh, it doesn't work there. Oh, no. Oh, damn it. Why doesn't that one work? You can see it's data turbo false, data remote false. Is it posting? Have we got the user at least? Oh, undefined method first name. Oh, it works. Okay, amazing. Right. It's because the first name doesn't work. Cool. Okay, so where was that? Oh my God, it's going on so far off the rails this morning. All we're trying to do is sign into the app. It's sometimes it just doesn't work. Sometimes it just doesn't work for you. Where are we trying to do that? In here. Do we not have a first name on you? Oh, let's just put email address. I've lost this page now. Right, we're doing it. Current user dot email. There we go. So now will it work? Or has it already locked us out? Oh, I'm signed in. Oh, I'm so excited. Right, okay. That's it. We hit that point in the controller where it would sign us in here when it created the user account. That's all we were trying to do for the last what feels like 3 days. So now we can go to the channel that we started looking at originally. And we're signed in. It looks awful, but you can see our email address up there. But why isn't the height thing from Tailwind working? It turns out that just building an app an hour a week and not really paying attention to what you did the week before compounds things that you've forgotten to tidy up. So it turns out this is not the way to build an app, but who knew? All right, this is an incentive for me to go and tidy some of this stuff up. Amazing. We have a user. He is signed in. They are signed in. Let's go and build a button. Let's do it really quickly before we lose all sense of momentum. Let's not do any tidy up because as we proved, don't need to. Right, let's build a controller because what we want to do is create a notification, a subscription notification. Notification subscription, never going to remember that one. I do need to know for the name of the controller. Notification subscription. So we're going to create one of those. So we're going to do notification subscriptions controller. And just a note that I do hope Justin, who was kindly commenting earlier, does get home safely, rather than paying attention to me screwing up code. Okay, so we're going to build a controller real quick, and we Justin's telling me now. Right, we've got to tidy all this up, Justin. I'm going to do it at some point. I've got some time off work coming up that's not till next month. Okay, that's a long way away. I've got to tidy this up. I've got to find some time. There's a lot going on outside of Sunday mornings though, so I'm not really getting a lot of time. Okay, so we're going to do this, and we just care about creating one right now. So that's subscribing someone. And then we want to, I guess, allow them to unsubscribe as well. So notification subscriptions controller. Cool. So creating, if this is your first time watching one of these streams, sometimes they are a bit more kind of A to B to C. There is some logic sometimes, but not today. And we are going to have some params so that we're going to need to know which channel it is, or they kind of on the channel view, I guess, although we could use it for other things. So we want, let's just say at the moment we're only going to allow this action to work for the currently signed in user, which isn't great because then, well, that's actually might be worth expanding on for a second. So if in here, what we're essentially trying to do is create one of these notification subscription. So let's just call .create for a second, and this is something that let's put some actual value in this stream rather than just me messing around trying to remember how everything works. So if you're building a new controller and you do this, so a notification subscription has a user and a channel. Those are the two things that we're really a user is subscribing to a channel. So if here you say that the user is the current user, and remember, current user is the device helper that gets provided to you. It's nil if there's no user signed in, and it is the user object if you have got a user signed in. Well, that kind of starts to limit your usage of this action. So let's say that you want to allow other people to create notifications on other people's behalf. So for example, that might be that you want to have admins act as users. In that instance, you might rather have perhaps a param here. So that could then be like, you'd have to whitelist it or whatever, but it could be like params dot user ID or user or something like that. And that then allows you to be more flexible as to which user is being referred to. It doesn't have to be the one that has a current session. And thinking about that when you're designing your controllers can actually help you. I worked on an app that used current_user pretty much all the time because it does provide you a scoping method. You're basically saying, well, now I know that this is always going to be the current user. But then we wanted to, loads of times on that app, we wanted to then do more things with those actions. And nothing crazy, but like tying it to the current user helper really meant that it had to be that person. Whereas often what we were really needing to do is authorize that it could only be one of a subset of people. So maybe you need another pundit policy, or you need some other checks and tests to make sure that it could only be that user or someone of a different role or some of these other things. And it really created a lot of work where we had to go through and see why we couldn't maybe have admins go and do certain things as users. And that was a real world example of that was like we started to implement different like things that the support users could do so that they could perform support actions more quickly. So like, why would you need someone to do something on behalf of a user? And like customer support is really a good example of that. And it's really tricky because you don't want support and admin wandering around as users, but you kind of want to give them some tools sometimes, and maybe you reuse the controller actions. Okay, so Justin has so kindly got home and has found some code for us. Okay, so config. This is a huge piece of value that Justin is providing to all of us, because I didn't realize we had just broken Devise by installing Turbo a couple of streams ago. So thank you for going to get that information, but also that's really good to know. So if you are watching this stream, I think we are being vaguely helpful. I hope. So if you copy the code from Garage, you have to uncomment this line, config.navigational formats. Okay, so let's go back. And here we've got a user sign in. We're just going to jump back briefly to take a look at. Okay, so in the video here, you have to uncomment this line. Oh, here we go. So I'm using Hotwire Rails and the tourism. Turbo include tags. For the second issue, make sure that you have this on your devise.rb. Okay, so let's go and check that in devise.rb. And is there already a navigational formats? Yes, okay. List the formats that should be treated as navigational. Formats like HTML should redirect to the sign-in page when the user does not have access, but formats like XML or JSON should return 401. If you have any extra navigational formats like iPhone or mobile, you should add them to the navigational format list. * below is required to match Internet Explorer requests. Okay. So do we think that might have fixed that issue? Let's open up in an incognito window and see if we can do that then. So let's go back here, sign in, sign up, do test at random domain, copy that in case I need it. But we still have to have the data false stuff in there as well, I'm guessing. What else is in that code? So that essentially builds devise failure app class, which I have used before for something I can't remember, logging on failure or something. Right, and it says if request format is TurboStream redirect. And that goes, okay, so we're just gonna lift this whole thing out, okay. Config, initializers, devise. Oh, and he chucks the whole thing in. Okay, so he puts that above his device setup. Okay, so well, we're kind of off topic a little bit, but this is fair enough because we have said we'll use devise and we have said we're going to use turbo, so this is on topic, I guess. So my memory of this is that devise has devise failure app is like a mechanism that devise gem provides to. I can't remember the details of what that does, but I'm sure you can take a look. But I'm pretty sure I've used this around logging or something. And it gives you methods that you can implement when, I'm guessing, something in devise fails. So then here we have turbo controller. It defines a turbo controller, which inherits from application controller. It then has a responder. So this is overriding the default turbo controller responder, I'm assuming. Class responder to turbo stream controller.render. Should be missing template error if get raise error, else if has errors default action. There's redirect to navigation location. HTML turbo stream. Okay, I don't know enough about turbo streams to know exactly what that's doing. I mean, I can kind of infer that it's trying to render out and then if there's a missing template error, it's trying to say, well, based on the type of request. So this was presumably, yep, it's wrong if it's a get error. So presumably it's expecting something else like a post or a patch. But else if it has errors and it's the default action, then turns an unprocessable. So that's if something went wrong, it returns unprocessable entity, which is what you get if you've got something incorrect in your params anyway. And then otherwise it just sends you to the right place. So wrong type of request, something went wrong in the params of the request, we're all good, and we're all good is presumably taking you to where it thinks you should go. But that's all within what makes that device based? Is it that? Oh, I don't. Anyway, okay, does that work? So we've done that, and then there were a couple of other bits in there. I'm sure. By the way, I'm sure all of these answers are in this video, so that the Go Rail stuff is always great. So I'm sure if we watch this, actually, let's put the link to that in the channel in the video description for today. I'm gonna do that right now. Go Rails video, and there. What's it called? How to use device with Hotwire and Turbo.js. Amazing. So I'm going to save that. So if you need the link, it's in the YouTube description for this video, and we can add in here config parent controller. Oh, okay. Configure the parent class to the device controller. Ah, okay. Right. I missed that. Okay. So this then becomes the controller that these inherit from. They then have a 2-turbo stream method. Okay. This line helps. Should have scrolled down. Come on, Max. Should have scrolled down. So do we have one of these already? Is it parent? Yeah. And it's just device controller. So we're going to overwrite that one. Turbo controller. And then we're going to see if we've got a failure app at the moment. I wonder what I did do with failure apps. It's one of the bad things about having not a great memory. You remember that you've done it, but not why or how. No, I can't see that we've got that in there at all, so we can just chuck this in here. That is within the device setup. Yeah, okay, so we've got the... Well, let's pop that. There, so you can keep the other examples in case they're ever super... I don't know how useful they're ever going to be. Okay. Cool. Okay, so we've got all the stuff plus the extra line from Justin that he's mentioned. Okay, cool. So I think we just want to visit this URL. Do I still have to? I still have to modify that form manually, or is it actually sending the? No, so it's still sending the create action as turbo stream. And I'm gonna watch the rest. I'm gonna watch that video another time. We'll come back and fix that. But we have a user signed in, so I'm gonna leave that for now. Let's go carry on and build our controller class, just because I think that is useful, but I think the answer is probably in that video to what we're looking for. So here we're going to create our notification subscription. It's going to be to our current user, and we're going to need to know which channel it is, and we can just pass that in as a param, I guess. Could be notification, subscription, params, and then yeah, we could do. Yeah, we could be more strict here and say. Oh, we don't really care, do we? So params dot permit channel ID. And that can be Channel ID. I'm just trying to get this through this really quickly. So we just need to create that. I'm not doing any error handling or anything for now. Let's just get channel ID. Okay, so will that work? We can do error handling by putting it back there. That will rigorous. So now we want to add. When we first started doing these streams, we would do tests for all of these, but we really want to get to where we're going. So we're gonna do. Subscriptions. And we create. Cool. So now we should have notification subscriptions path. Great. And so I think what we can do then is on this view. So we can do channel show. I'm working really quickly now. I'm not describing too much what we're doing because we're just going to try and get to where we're going. So we've got a button that says edit channel, and let's put in a button that says subscribe. So God, I can't remember. Is it button 2, button 4, button 2, button 2? And then is it? Let me give you a simple example. Button 2. Subscribe. And obviously what we will need to do is check if we are subscribed. To action new. But we can just put the path, I think. Can we just put the path? These are, yeah. So then we can put the path. And we can just put the channel.id. And then I think we need to give it some sort of CSS class. Is my memory of this. I think we have used this somewhere, so there should be a CSS class. Oh, didn't we make one called button? Yeah, it's about 3 sizes too big. Okay, so we've done this before. So method post. Okay, so we can do the same thing here. So that should give us some button that posts it to where we want it to go. So in here, do we now have a subscribe button? No. Okay, I missed something. I missed something. What did I miss? Method post. Oh, the do. Oh, because then you don't need to put the. Oh, you don't need to put the. Do you need to put the do? Can you just do it as a one-liner? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Cool. Amazing. Right. So if we then subscribe, what do we actually? What's that path? I'm racing through this. Notification subscriptions, channel ID 13. And it's going to use current user, and we know we're signed in. So I think this will create one of these things. No idea. Clicked it. Did I click it? I don't need that open, and I can make this short. There we go. Great. Unpermitted param. Unknown attribute channel for notification subscription. Oh, because it's not channel, is it? It's like it's polymorphic, isn't it? So it's subscribable. Oh, I never know how to spell those ables, whether people add the e's and the extra bits. So we want the model. Notification subscription is subscribable. So if you're looking at what happened there, we basically notification subscription. We're saying we're associating it between a user and a channel, but for some reason I was trying to be too clever for my own good last week and made it so that you could subscribe anything to a notification subscription. It didn't have to be a channel, so that makes this incorrect. So it's not a channel that we're trying to subscribe it to. It's subscribable. Oh, that means we can't use the. Okay, I was trying to. Every time you try and shortcut something, you just shoot yourself in the foot. So if you just do it properly, even if you're live streaming and just trying to get it done quickly on a Saturday morning, it would be quicker for you. So now this won't work. And the reason this won't work is because I was only passing through the ID. But obviously for a polymorphic association, it needs to know both the ID and what it is. So you can simply do that by passing the instance of the thing, so by passing an actual channel, or by passing the subscribable ID and subscribable typo and all that other stuff. But I was only doing the ID because I was trying to be quick, and I have shot myself in the foot. So let's load up the actual thing and put it as a... Because we could put the or you could just put channel type as, because it's not even channel ID, is it? It's subscribable ID. Okay. Let's continue half-assing it. So let's put subscribable ID, and we'll take type as well. This is not how we would normally build this, because what we could do is put because you put that in the path, and then have it as a before action and go and load up the correct thing and pass it through and have it be clever. But we're just gonna do this really quick, because this is not the point of what we're trying to get to. We're trying to get to the turbo stream bit. So subscribable. I think you can do this. I think you can just pass these straight through without having to go and load it up here first. I'm assuming these are attributes on here. Gonna find that out. Yeah, definitely. This is really an incentive to go and do some more tidying up, I think. This is just a bit painful for everyone. But time escapes me. So that, and then we need to change the actual thing here. With this, taking this, and we can just write channel. Again, we would never do that because we want to make that match whatever that is. Oh, we could just, you could do something like, again, you wouldn't really do this either, but you could do channel.class.name. Does that give you a capitalized version? I think so. Yes. So will this work? Get our server up as well. Subscribe. Still got channel ID? Where am I using channel ID? Oh, that's right, channel. Oh wait, just written channel ID with no nothing. This is why I write tests. Come on, let's get it together, people. Let's get it together. Okay, so this might fail actually, because I think we did the create here, so this now might fail because I think we would have put a unique index on it. So it was actually the link. It was actually the redirect that failed in that previous run, if you were wondering. So the create worked in this controller, and it was the redirect that failed because I had used channel ID on the thing. So I think this might fail now again. And we're here. Okay, no, that has worked. So we then redirected, and we just need to put in the logic as to whether we're subscribed. Cool. So then if we go to here. Oh, this is cool. So now we need to know whether our user is subscribed to our channel. So yeah, so we can probably do that in a bunch of different ways. We're just going to add in a method on the model. I think. because we just need to query this, basically. I'm trying to think through what we're actually trying to do here. So we just need... Because we could put... it's true or false. Subscribable. So we don't need an instance of that, so we could put something on the user that says user.hasSubscription for subscribable, and we could put it over there. You could put something on the channel that says, does a user have a subscription? But they could also all feed through to something on the notification subscription, which is, I've added a class method here for this, has subscription for. This is usually the kind of stuff that I like to have time to think through where I'm trying to go with the whole feature overall. Again, we're just trying to get to the action cable stuff, so it's not as applicable here. But there's so many ways that, like, you don't have to, like, you could have a separate class whose job it was just to look for those. So like, what was the one that I worked on where they had like finder classes or something like that, where basically like the job of looking stuff up was, they had like a specific subset of classes that just did that stuff and just brought you back the trues and the falses. And you kind of want to avoid, I'm trying to think of like what are the pitfalls of any of them. I was speaking to someone recently and they were highlighting that the issues of just using the active records go and find me, dot where is that if there's any kind of common pattern there and then you're looking to refactor that system wide, putting all of that in a method that has a unique name really helps you when you're trying to find where that behavior exists later if you've got a large code base. Because if you're just using lots of the same kind of wheres, like, where user is 123, dot subscribable, whatever, blah, 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 dot is active, all those things, and you're training them all together. When you need to refactor them, you're like, where do we use this? And then some of them will have little subtle quirks, and maybe they're in a different order or something, but they perform the same task. So if you're trying to find them in a really large code base, it can get painful. Whereas if you just put those inside nicely worded methods somewhere, or put them in a class altogether, you're like, oh, well, this is where this lives. And also you can say, well, please use these methods. Don't try and build your own custom thing. So that's a good example of where that can bite you in the bum. It kind of helps prevent people from putting those big wheres in the views, which is where they want to, you don't probably want them there. And if you've got, someone who's not used to Rails or not sure where to put them, that they can build up there. Whereas if there's a method somewhere that they can see in use, that might discourage that behavior. So there's a couple good reasons as to really why it's good to think through where am I going to ask this thing, whichever thing you're asking for, whether it's subscribed or where it is, some hope. So like, let's put this together. So user and subscribable. So where user is user and subscribable is subscribable. Dot exists is the active record one, right? Am I crazy? This is I actually gave a talk about this live stream recently this week, and I said it highlighted to me how little I memorize anything, like, and how often on this thing I'm like, oh, I think it's this, and then it turns true if a record exists in the table. Yeah, so like I think I know it, but then I must spend my entire life not streaming, googling stuff, and not realizing that I'm googling it. So they were basically just saying, does this record exist, right? So let's grab a console here. So channel.last can be our channel. And then our user can be the last user. And then we can say notification subscription dot user has subscription for, and then we can say, oh, we can just put that. We just put user as user. And then I'm copying subscribable because I'm going to keep spelling it wrong. Subscribable. We haven't set subscribable. We called it channel. So we can call it subscribable. Undefined method user has subscribable for. Notification subscription? Oh, is it because we didn't drop out of this? I forgot to do all that again. Oh, no. Great. Okay, cool. So what this method is doing, notification subscription dot user has subscription for user subscribable is basically just running this active record query. But you could imagine a case where you're like checking this, and then in some instances you might want to check for whether they have ever subscribed, and then sometimes you might want to do this where active is true or something like that. And that's what I was just saying, as these are littered through the code base, but they're slightly different. So let's say it was like in this order all of a sudden, doing the usual thing of like doing a find suddenly becomes harder, especially as it's something like notifications or one of those objects that's just everywhere. It gets harder and harder. Whereas if you enforce the use of these like helper methods, so that was what someone was pointing out to me, and I was like, oh, that's super helpful. Actually, we do only care that it is active, so it's good I mentioned that because I've forgotten that. So we actually do only care that it's active. Has to be true. But again, this could be user has active subscription for. Could be like that. And that might fail now actually, because I don't know if we set active when we set the subscription. Or was active the default on the record? Be nil. That should probably be true or false and not allow nil, I would imagine. That's probably an oversight from last week. So we've got a Boolean there with no default, which gives us like a 3 state, true, false, or nil. So there would be no point in having a nil subscription. That would basically mean false. So that could be null false, I think. So this now might not return. So if we just run that again, I'm hoping this is making sense. I'm going to go back over this in a second. I went through quite quickly for the last little while just to get us where we're going. But I think this is useful. User has active subscription for, so change the method name. User has active subscription for. Let me move this up and bump the font size again. Try and keep this on the screen. There we go. So user has active subscription for. Okay, so if you saw previously, that came back as, where did we run it last time? Where did we get our true? Oh, here we go. So I think we did get false here. So maybe there isn't one for that user. So let's just find out what our last one actually is. Subscription.last. So it's user 9 and channel 13. Okay. So let's make subscribable channel 13. So now this should still be false. But if we were to run this, I'm gonna come back through all of this, so don't panic. I'm moving too quickly. I'm just checking that the IDs. So that one is false. And is it just that it's active? If we just say that the IDs exist, that's true. Great. Okay, so just caught something that would just really catch you out normally on a code base. Like this is a good example of one of the things we try and look at on this channel, of stuff that's just going to catch you out a little bit. So I originally wrote, we're looking for notification subscriptions. So is the user subscribed or not? And we said where the user was A and the subscribable was B, fine. But we had added in this active attribute to the notification subscriptions, but they allowed false. They allowed null, sorry. So now an active can be true, it can be false, or it can be nil. And we only really care about in this method, do they have an active subscription for? And so what I did is added active true to that class method. And you can see that what it's actually running is this .exists. Does this record exist in the database? And without that active, it brings back the incorrect value. So this one here is without active. I'm just running the active record query directly. And it's like, yep, totally. There is a notification subscription for these two things, for this user and this subscribable. But on the one where you're like, is this active? It's like, no, because it's not set active as true. So that's a flaw in both the database design and then in the subscription, which we created in the controller, which we made earlier. Here, we weren't setting active as true either. Now, in reality, we probably wouldn't want to bother doing that because we would set active as true perhaps as the default value for that. So we can just delete all these. We don't. There must be two, I think, are there? There's three. Okay, so we can. Does it destroy all or delete all? I think delete all will run the delete, and the destroy all runs destroy individually. Yeah, so delete all will just run one raw SQL, but they're gone anyway, so we should be able to now run .count. There's none, so now we can go back to our user interface, back to here, and we hit subscribe. Nothing will happen, I don't think. Oh, well, now we can use our method. So yeah, let's implement this. So we can do in our show thing, we can say if, and again, we probably wouldn't put this in the view. We might have like a call presenter or helper or something so that we didn't have to call straight up the class method directly. We might have like a cool little user subscribe to, and then it does it elsewhere, but we don't really care about that right now. So we can just chuck it in here. User has active subscription for, and then the user will be the current user. And then the subscribable, because again, you don't need to pass all this through. Like in a helper, you would know that it was the current user. So you could just say user has active subscription for channel ? Because you would know that you had the channel as an instance variable. You'd know that you had the current user. And so you could in the view, this could just be like a very short method. But that doesn't really matter right now. And then that could be the channel. So if that, then show you're subscribed, and then we'll do like a cool emoji. And then it's really loosey-goosey this week, I'll tell you. So we can then, so we've got our subscribe button here because we're not subscribed. And then what should happen is if we click this, you're subscribed. Ta-da! Amazing. This looks like a right dog's dinner. Look at this. It's just a total mess. Okay, but it has worked. It's worked. We've got a subscription. It's taken phenomenally long amount of time, but we got there. This is so good. So I think that made some sense as to how we got here rather than just writing. We could have just written the .where clause here. We just have so many options. So knowing why you're doing them is helpful. Do you want to do like... I actually don't like view helpers hugely. I prefer a presenter or something. But again, we could go to the user. Again, I actually try and avoid putting anything on the user personally because they just get so overloaded. But you could hit like, this could be has active subscription for subscribable. And, well, you could even take that off because at that point you're only asking for one thing. And again, you're only going to make true or false. And then this could do the work of this. And then that would be user self. And then subscribable would be subscribable. Just pull these down to make them visible. So then suddenly you're then able to ask this question of, this is just an example, by the way. Yeah, you can do current user dot has active subscription for channel. And then I think the behavior there should still stay the same. So it should still say you're subscribed. And again, if we go back and destroy, I'll just do the delete all. Cool. Now click back, we can subscribe and get subscribed. So you can see how that API changed there. Like that's something that I think about a lot when, like I said, like when you're trying to plan for where this is going and like what you're going to use these methods for, where like is it mostly view logic? Is it stuff that's like a back-end system? And what does it look like? How explicit is it to people that are going to come along and read it later? So again, you could abstract this away even further. So that could go away and it could become a view helper. And you could say has active subscription for, because maybe it has to be a user. So these are all things in your command. I'm actually going to, I don't like things on the user personally. It's never really been my favorite. So I'm actually going to take the one off the user because I don't like that. I would rather have like a subscription. Maybe I wouldn't rather have that, but like you could have a subscription finder or a yeah, you can do like I'm here to tell you how to what designs you like and find useful. So cool, that all should work. I mean, I wouldn't leave this, like, just to clarify, like this is not what I would leave in my view, because that's a long way down for a view to know. This, I mean, the controller should have done this work and said, am I subscribed? So that's, I'm not here to tell you how to do it, but that's not how I would leave it. But that's the spirit of today's stream, that we're just leaving this there. Right, okay, so we've got a subscription. Oh, amazing. Right, so we want to know, oh God, I've got to go in a minute. It's like, okay, I have 24 minutes. Okay, cool. So we have our subscriptions being created. And what we now want to know is how to trigger behavior based on that creation. Because what we want to do, so we've got the subscription, that works. Do we want to try and jump to the action cable stuff now and do a notification that the user has subscribed? Or do we want to try and go all the way to the end and perform an action via action cable when the user when the action actually takes place and the user receives that? Because then it would be like, at the moment we could tie that behavior in the UI to just the creation of the notification subscription record. So we could say put a red dot in the thing when in the UI when this record is created. Otherwise we have to jump the next step, which is that when, let's do video.create, for example, when a video is created, then check the subscriptions. And if the subscription is present, then do this. I don't think that's worth it. Like we're just trying to get to the action cable stuff. So I don't think it's worth us looking that up, because we've just shown how to look that up. So all we're doing is just putting another layer of abstraction away. And once we've got it once, we can do it again. So let's say that when we do a subscription in the UI, here, we want to put a notification bubble over here, and we're going to try and do that via action cable. Is that reasonable? I think it might be. Let's do unsubscribe really quickly with no tests. Yeah, that has to be true. I'm sorry. So then we can, I'm just going to do this really quickly. We're just going to do this. Again, this is rough and ready. But I just want to be able to toggle it in the UI. So in here, we can then add in, just wrap this up. Again, really rough and ready, but it'll get us where we want to go. So you're subscribed, and then we're going to add a button that says unsubscribe. The method is going to be delete. But everything there. I think the controller is already active true. Yep. So that might work. No, okay, so unsubscribe is not firing. Let's see what's happening there. Delete notification subscriptions. Oh. Oh, is it not? Does it not go via delete? What request is that generating then when we do the unsubscribe? Just in. Oh, is that the point that it just does? Oh, it needs the ID. Needs the ID in the root. Of what? The notification subscription? Can we just change that root? So it just does it without. Just do a quick one here. What is it? I can't remember the default ones. Match to via. You can just do straight to the resource though, right? You can just do delete like that. What does that get you? Control, please check your routes. Just have to go to. Yeah, okay, cool. So yeah, again, I'm just taking shortcuts there. So let's see if this now. Oh, sorry. I'll go again. I'll go back over this in a second. Subscriptions, subscribable types, channel. That's still going as post. Can you not call that then as a delete? But it still sets it as post. So we should be getting, this is presumably, oh, and destroy, It's actually getting an error, so it is posting correctly. It's just that the controller is... Just don't need to bang on that because it's a destroy. Undefined method. Join for hash. What is that? I should return the no method error notification descriptions destroy. Which actual error is that bringing back? We should have all of those params. See what happens if we just check this in. Sorry, I'm just trying to get that toggle working just as the end of today's stream. So if we just pop a pry in there. So are these working? That's 13. This channel. Oh, can you call Dr. Okay, I don't think you right. Okay. Let's just see if that works. Sorry, I think I was calling. I don't think you can call .destroy in the class. I think I was just thinking I had an instance of it. If that works. I need to drop out of this. This is only a quick task. This is why I always get so screwed over in these, because I always think, oh, that would be a 2-second task. And then I haven't really thought about what I'm trying to accomplish. Just put the pry back in. What am I trying to do here? I'm just trying to get that instance out and destroy it really quickly. Okay. Da-da. Cool. Oh, okay. Well, I don't have it there, so put the pry back in. And do him. Pry. Okay, so get that instance back and then call destroy on it. A number of arguments. That's what I was doing previously. Just calling destroy. Is it because I didn't get the ID? Ah, maybe that's the issue. Oh, I see, but you're only... Oh, I see. It doesn't take an instance. It takes an integer. Okay. Okay, again, that goes back to the thing I was saying earlier about not memorizing any of these APIs or remembering how they work. To Google them like every time. What's the notification? But then I can call destroy on the instance, right? Find by. I can do it there. So yeah, totally got lost between having instances of them and not. So I'm hoping if we can come out of that. Fox hasn't found it. Okay. Okay, fix the typo. Amazing. Right. Okay. So subscribe and unsubscribe. Yeah, testing is slow. Slow is smooth. Smooth is fast. Yeah, no tests. Scrabble around for typos for 20 minutes every stream. Okay, cool. So now we can toggle between subscribed and unsubscribed, which is super cool. And we can also use turbo frames, if you remember from that stream a few weeks ago, to basically make this automatically subscribe and unsubscribe without having the full page refresh. So you can see all of the whole page is actually being called there, but I think, or is it doing that? Maybe it's, yeah, because we have to put the turbo frame ID around it like we did before. But that would then just make it a toggle. So what we're going to do next week is try and get Action Cable working. So I'm going to try and do some prep. So we'll try and watch some of the videos and stuff so that we don't have to hunt around. I will also try and take a look at that video, the GoRails video that Justin kindly pointed out. We've broken Devise on our installation by installing Turbo, which is good to know, and try and get that working. And other than that, we now have subscription and unsubscription working, and we're going to get a notification in the top right hand corner working when we subscribe and unsubscribe. And then what that means is once we've got it working once, we can then get it working for other behaviors in the back end. So we got about 10% of where I was trying to get to this week, but I think we covered a lot of ground. I'm hoping some of it was useful for someone. Thank you again for everyone who sends any feedback through or drops a comment on the video or on Twitter or however else people do it. Super appreciate it. I hope these are useful in some way at all. Anyone gets some value out of them. So we'll be back next week, 10:30 a.m. UK time. You can watch these anytime on YouTube if they're useful. Take a look back at the other videos in the stream. Have a great week. I hope you're all having a good time. It's finally spring here, so we're going to go outside because it's warm. Have a great week, and I will see you all next week. Bye.